Welcome back, everybody. I'm Dan Salem with Phil and Bud. This is your three-man booth. The NFL remains interesting, even if it's fake news. We're going to jump right into it because, Phil, this excites you with the Russell Wilson trade rumors. Without further ado, you had a guarantee. You told me offline you had a guarantee. Go for it.
I did. I guarantee Russell Wilson will be on the Giants as of next season. That's my guarantee. Let me tell you something. I'm saying that for that's more of a wishful thinking, but he gave the Seahawks a deadline, whether or not this is a hard deadline, of April 15th, which is next Monday. He's like, show me the money or what? I mean, what's he going to do? Just not show up? That's not going to happen.
I mean, so this is what I think. I expect him to play out the final year of his contract, regardless of whether they give him the money. But
then you lose him for nothing. Are they going to take that chance?
Well, they could trade him up until the trade deadline, right?
Well, yeah, but you're going to start a season with Russell Wilson, trade him midway through the season, and then
quarterback. It's not the best maneuver. They should just rebuild right now before the draft. I agree. So, I mean, I don't know if anyone will trade for him, though.
Let me tell you something. If you're the Giants, do you trade your first and second round picks for him? 100%. You don't even think twice about it.
Yeah, you swap first and throw in a second.
You give him both number ones and your number two. I mean, you don't even think twice about it. It's a no-brainer.
Well, I will say he's in his prime.
It's a no-brainer.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but I think you're –
it's a pipe dream, but it's possible. Because let me tell you something.
Rainbows and unicorns are a little crazy here, Phil.
You're right, but let me tell you something. Come April 16th, watch how many stories are going to be all over the place about this.
No, I agree. So there's my thoughts. He did particularly well against behind a not so good offensive line in Seattle. But he can't run forever. So do you believe the Giants' offensive line is good enough for him to still be good? Now, he has better weapons in the Giants' offense with Barkley and Sterling Shepard and
Golden Tate.
The other Tate. But Seattle's got a better defense. Or at least they did last season. So
what this allows you to do is I don't know what a trade is going to look like.
Yeah.
But it's –
listen, if they were
Rodgers at it.
But here's the thing. That's all fine, well, and good, but you've just guaranteed Eli $17 million, guaranteed.
Yeah, but if you cut him, you would have been against the cap anyway. So,
well, do they dare trade Eli to Seattle? Because Seattle needs somebody to play for him.
Well, that probably will be part of the. I mean, that might be part of the. I've seen no trade
face to a Super Bowl winner.
Yeah, I've seen no trade scenarios. I've seen no I've seen nothing. This is just hearsay, but it's all hearsay in the fact that Russell Wilson's wife, was it Sierra or C? I forget which one it is. She's
Ciara.
Yeah, let's go to New York.
Going for it, yeah. Well, here's the thing that really tips my fancy, because this was the same type of thing that happened with Antonio Brown and Odell Beckham. You had this little murmur of buzz that built, then it died for a couple days, and then all of a sudden the trade went down. So this
But Russell Wilson gave him a deadline. None of these other guys said trade me or else.
Well,
I don't even know what that else is going to look like, though. That's the thing.
We know what happened when Le'Veon Bell gave a deadline. Deadlines don't seem to work so well.
You're right, but he's a quarterback. He's not the running back where you can just pop in anybody else.
Devil's advocate, is this just a deadline to work a deal now, and then he's willing to be a free agent, but still play for them and give them first dibs at a new deal later? I mean, if he plays out his contract, and then someone else signs him, they'll get compensatory picks, right? And they probably had the option to match.
Yeah, but would you rather have compensatory picks, or would you rather have first and second rounders?
But they'd obviously rather have Russell Wilson as their quarterback.
Yeah, but if he doesn't want to be there, I wish I knew his mindset. I wish I knew his thinking. Does he really want to play? Is this just a bargaining chip? Because it certainly can be. How many of these guys go into their last year? Like Le'Veon Bell, he didn't want to play because he didn't want to risk getting hurt and then not getting paid for that next contract. That was the whole basis around his whole deal.
He also doesn't want to play on their franchise tag. I mean, that's part of it too.
That's true too.
I mean, he wants to get a contract, and because ultimately, if they don't sign him and they don't trade him, they'll just franchise him
for two years.
But his franchise tag is going to be what? $28 million guaranteed.
Yeah, and I mean that's not so bad.
No, that's not so bad at all. I mean, but yeah, he wants a new contract, but at the same time,
It's interesting. He's like one of the first greats to now be eclipsing his rookie deal, because we always said the rookie deal window, and they won a championship with his rookie deal. Like, I don't know. We're going to see if he's going to get paid or not, and like whether they actually think he's got the legs, the longevity. He seems to have proven that he deserves the money, but if him and his wife have any desire to be bigger than they are, they'll have to leave Seattle. Like, they got to go to a bigger market.
You're right. So like, let's say Monday comes and they don't even talk to him, because I guess historically Seattle doesn't do that. Like, that's not the way they do things. Maybe they wait till after the draft. Maybe they wait till the summer. But typically they don't make decisions like that and extend contracts at this time of year.
Yeah, we heard the same thing about Pittsburgh. They don't do that either. They don't negotiate, and that didn't work out so well for Pittsburgh. So
you're right. It's just it's very intriguing, because it could be a huge difference maker in the next week.
So you're the Giants fan. You give up both number 1 picks for him?
I wouldn't even think about it. I wouldn't even think about it.
You got the 6th and the 16th, right?
Yeah.
So this is a really interesting debate to me, because obviously quarterbacks.
You would hemorrhage the entire draft?
No, just the first round.
But that's also, those are 2 guaranteed starters.
Yeah, dude. I mean, what are you crazy?
How many holes do you have on that defense? Like, I'm just thinking.
You're nuts, dude. You're nuts. Listen, a 1 and a 2, yeah, maybe.
That's not getting him.
Both your first this year.
A 1 and a 2 is not going to get him. All right. So let's say you have your 1 and you pick Dwayne Haskins or Drew Lock or that other guy out of I forget where he is. There's 3 of them. You don't know what he's going to be. Maybe they're all hype. You know you're getting a bona fide stud at quarterback. You know it for sure.
I tell you, they're not drafting quarterback.
No, I don't think they are.
No. I'm just saying, if you do, you have a guy who's never played the league, or we're gonna have a Super Bowl winning quarterback.
No, what I'm seeing from the Giants is they've positioned themselves to rebuild for another season and get a quarterback at the top of the next draft by loading up 3 years in a row. Because that's what the Browns did. They loaded up 3 years in a row with top 10 picks, and they completely turned the corner. It's a shame, because I know the Jets did it too. Like, they loaded up picks a few years in a row.
The Giants also have 12 picks in this draft, 12, which I think is the number 1 amount for any team. Seattle has 4 total.
No, I'm not saying they can't swap around some picks. And Wilson, the fact that he's even potentially available is like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So you don't miss it. Like, same with Bell. You can't miss it. The Jets overpaid it. You got to go after him. You got to get him.
I completely agree. So you wouldn't trade your 2 number 1 picks for Russell Wilson right now, is what you're saying?
I wouldn't.
It depends on what you're getting back. I don't think straight up 2 1s for him. That's real tough.
You'd have to get a pick back, right, Dan? You'd have to get like a third round pick or something.
Or you don't leave Seattle with 3 number 1s. That's just like crazy. So like,
I don't even know if they have a number 1 pick, to be quite honest with you. I don't know. They have 4 total. I don't even know what rounds they're in, is what I heard.
Oh, they got rid of most of theirs, huh? Yeah, they could get a ton of draft capital for Wilson. But it's funny, because the Giants are one of the few teams with multiple 1s and a need, because most everybody else has already figured things out by now.
They might be the only team with 2 number 1 picks. Maybe the Raiders have 2. That might be possible. I think Raiders have a top 5 and somewhere at the back end of the first round, but. Listen, it's very intriguing. Am I being over? Have I put a lot of thought into this? No, but if you're gonna say, hey, I'm gonna give you Russell Wilson for a 1 and a 2 and a 3, whatever. Yes.
So I gotta be perfectly honest. The Jets were rebuilding over the last 5 years, right? Unfortunately.
It's 50.
I think they went 10-6 the first season.
50 years, Dan. 50 years.
No, they went 10-6. That's not a rebuilding year. You win double digits. It's not a rebuilding year. They did miss.
I know.
But ever since they went 10-6, that's like 3-4 years in a row they've been rebuilding. They've been stockpiling number 1s. Now they got a young quarterback under a rookie deal with young talent, and they just loaded in the offseason. The Browns kind of did the same thing. Whether or not this was truly planned or not is completely up for debate. But the Giants are 2 years into a rebuild. They've been awful for 2 years in a row, and they got
They're 2 years into putting Band-Aids on everything. I wouldn't even call it a rebuild. They've been trying to put Band-Aids on things.
This offseason was an official "we're rebuilding" flag. They stamped it in the ground and got and stockpiled as much as they could for what they had.
Right. Which again, they have 12 picks in this draft, which is a lot.
But if you like the plan, taking all of your assets and going and getting Wilson completely throws the plan away.
Well, but I don't even know what their plan is.
Months.
Like, well, so I don't even know what their plan. From what I'm hearing the last week, Dwayne Haskins' stock is going like this, way down. Well, is that true? I don't know. That could all be hearsay.
That's good for the Giants if they want to get him at 6 or 16.
Well, that's possible too. But so now are the Giants going offensive line? Are they going defensive edge rusher? I have no idea what they're going to do with that number 6 pick. None.
And none of these quarterbacks are really bona fide stars. Like, no one's talking them up, so I'm not surprised their stock's falling. Now, it's ironic. I don't know if you guys saw the article ESPN did where they went through all the number 1 quarterbacks over the last 5 years and their pre-draft ratings. I mean, everyone's 89 and above, so it's kind of amusing. Even the guys this year, no one gets a bad rating, but some of these guys have not turned into good pros that you were really happy to have, obviously. I
think last year's draft class is going to be the outlier where, I mean, it's maybe aside from Rosen, we still have with the books out on him, but the 3 out of the 4 so far have been they're starters. They're starters in the league.
Yeah, well, the jury's out for me. The guy in Buffalo too, Allen.
He's got a cannon.
Did you see Buffalo just signed a rugby player, an Australian rugby player, to play running back?
Too. I think the Jets did too.
Did you see the size of that guy?
Oh, I didn't see the picture. No.
Oh, dude, his thighs are as wide as you, Dan.
Oh wow. So this is like a new NFL rule, right? Where they're encouraging international talent, so that everyone's grabbing like one international player. This will be exciting if he makes the team.
I don't know.
Interesting.
Well, when we sit here next week, hopefully we have a lot more information on this Russell Wilson thing, or maybe we'll have none at all. That's certainly possible as well. But I'm interested to see what's going to happen after this self-imposed deadline that he's given the team.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, he picked it. It's like basically a week and a half before the draft, so it kind of like I don't know. It sounds arbitrary to me, but I guess it's tax day. I don't know if that's coincidence. You were going to go on. You were reading beforehand all the AAF guys that signed too. We've got a lot of people signing, but there's still some big names out there that haven't.
Didn't the NFL come out and say that they suggested not signing any of them?
No, they signed 14 of them signed.
Really?
Yeah. I was looking at the list earlier before we came on here.
Snatched up, which is really interesting. I don't know if you can be a member of both leagues or if the other league had to officially fold for this or like end its season for them to join. I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure it's done. It's not coming back. I've heard literally nothing at all this week about that. I even looked up. I even Googled today, is the AAF dead? I've seen nothing.
The only thing you could find about it is what we did in our video. Because ESPN didn't even do an article about it. I was shocked. They didn't write anything about it folding. All they had was comments from Polian. It was pathetic. Like, this is a semi-professional sports league. So
if it was up to Polian, he was going to keep the league going, figure out the debt after the season was over, and go from there. Like he was like, it's like we'll figure it out as we go along.
I like that because it shows that you've completed a season. You're in the off season. Who cares if you're $200 million in the hole? You have a whole year to figure it out. You cave halfway through, you're done. No one. You're a joke now. It's a shame.
Yeah, it's literally just another footnote in the spring football graveyard, is what it is.
So you said there were new XFL rules because this is our next hope of potentially.
So this is actually interesting. I don't know if any of you guys saw this.
The 9-point play.
Yeah.
What?
So
all right. I haven't read any of these, so I'm intrigued. Okay.
So basically, what it's going to be is that when you score a touchdown's still a touchdown, and you have the option. This is proposed to have 3 different extra point attempts. So teams can choose whether they want to go for a 1-point conversion on the 2-yard line, a 2-point try from the 5-yard line, or a 3-point try from the 10-yard line.
And so none of these are kicking. None of these. It's all running a play, correct?
Yeah. You're not kicking, so there must not be any kickers in this league either, just like the AAF.
Well, what they're saying is that they're hoping by doing this is that say you're down 2 possessions, you're not really. I'm sorry, 3 possessions. You're not really down 3 possessions anymore. Now you're really down 2.
Yeah, you could be down 18 points and still
have only two. You only need 2 possessions.
I like it.
It's not bad. It's actually
It's out of the box.
It's a fun rule, I think.
But the percentages exist for converting the try from those 3 positions. Obviously, at least in terms of the NFL, so you got the numbers of how likely it is to get the 1 versus the 3. I think you're gonna see a lot of people go for 3 points because you got more room to work with starting at the 10.
Right. Yeah, maybe a quick little screenplay or a draw play, something like that might catch them off guard.
From the 1 or the 5, you can't throw many passes, but from the 10, you can throw a lot of passes. Your playbook opens up. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, I kind of like that idea. I think it's like Bud said, it's out of the box, it's different, it's new, it's not bad. But that article came up today, so that's the only thing I've heard so far. And it's interesting too. 1 week after the AAF folds, I think now you're going to start to hear a little more about the XFL and their plans and their proposed rule changes because they didn't want anybody stealing it. Now that's not going to happen.
Yeah. Plus, they're the only game in town that's not the NFL. So.
Yep. And now they have a full year to figure out what the AAF did, what they did wrong, which we all think is money wise. And I don't know. Again. I don't know what their networks are going to be on. Are they going to? I know they signed a deal with Fox.
The only thing I can figure is
one of the Fox Sports ones. I don't know.
They must have had to pay so much money to get their product on national television. That's the only thing I can figure that would have cost them so much in the whole.
They were on CBS. They were on TNT. They were on TBS. They were on NFL Network. I mean, they were on 5 different networks here.
Yeah. I don't know what kind of deal they swung, but it couldn't have been a good one for them to be down so much so quickly.
No, I mean, they were bleeding money. I don't know.
Well, nobody was going to the games.
Well, that's true.
I guess that's part of it. You hope for the concessions and the entrance fees
But even so, it's not like the first year they were going to be selling out game after game. No. It's going to take a little time. And Bill Polian's whole thing was this is like a 3 or 5 year process to become that minor league for the NFL. They didn't even make 8 games. So
I'm sorry. Yeah, it definitely needed 3 to 5 years. So they could only afford a half a one.
Yeah.
That's just.
One of these days we'll have one of these 30 for 30s on the AAF, and maybe we'll hear the reasons where the money went, what they were paying, how much they were paying. It's going to happen, I think, at some point.
Yeah. I wonder if they sunk a lot of money into that app and the technology, because we talked about that a little bit last week. If it pans out, but
yeah, watch that thing take off when sports gambling comes legal in every state, and watch that app take off.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
So that's too bad. But who's winning the Stanley Cup here this year?
Oh,
we have playoff hockey coming.
Yeah, we had a nice article today about how no one knows who's in the playoffs.
I have no idea.
Listen, if we're gonna talk hockey, I'll give you the nickel. Nickel. If Tampa Bay does not win the Stanley Cup, it'll be an utter disappointment. They had 62 wins. Okay, they tied Detroit for the most ever in the history of the NHL during a regular season. Calgary's playing great in the West. Nashville is always good. Toronto, I don't know if they're ready to make the jump. The Islanders are playing really well. The Washington's playing really well. But I just personally think that Tampa's.
Did they win last year? Did they win it last year? Was that?
No, Washington won last year.
Oh, Washington was the one that finally got over the hump last season.
Right. I mean, and Tampa's been there. I mean, they beat the Rangers a few years ago to get into the Stanley Cup. They ended up losing. This is their year. I mean, they had 26 points or something crazy like that.
I was happy to see Vegas made it back after their incredible season last year.
They are not as good as last year's team. Yeah. I get home late from work sometimes, so I put on NBC Sports, and they're usually like 10 o'clock games. So I watch a little bit of Vegas hockey. I mean, they have a really good team.
Yeah.
But Calgary's really good, and nobody really talks about them because they're from Canada. So,
yeah.
But what are you laughing about?
No, I'm enjoying your hockey take. I was just waiting.
I played hockey my whole life, so yeah. I love hockey, and the fact that the Rangers have sucked the last couple of years. Yeah. It's been really tough to stick through, but the Islanders are really good, and the Islanders have the best goaltender duo in the league. They won this. I forgot what the name of the actual the award is for the NHL. They gave up the least amount of goals in the league.
Oh wow!
So, and I think they had like the fourth most points in all of the NHL. So, I mean, and they're playing their first round games at the Nassau Coliseum, which I think would be really good because the Barclays Center is an awful place to watch a hockey game. Awful.
Oh, is it?
So their new arena is not built yet in Long Island.
It hasn't even been approved yet.
No, I thought it was approved.
Nope. They're waiting. They're waiting on this whole bunch of junction from the litigation and the legal and everything else because they have to clear out space at Belmont to build the arena, and then they have to reroute the train line
Right.
to get there.
It's a long way off, though.
And people are upset. What they should have done years ago, is they should have built it in the parking lot of Citi Field.
Oh yeah.
Similar to situation what they have over in Philadelphia, where you go over there and the football stadium, the baseball stadium, and the hockey arena are all in the same parking lot.
You could have put it next to MetLife. I mean, come on.
You could have put it next to MetLife. You could have, but then the Devils don't want to do that because it's too close to Newark.
Right.
And they don't want to go to Citi Field because it's too close to the city. And the Rangers don't want them to be that close. But that's where they should have built it. Or they should have just kept themselves in Long Island where they should be.
So Barclays,
I'm not an Islanders fan.
Yeah. So Barclays, is that they really just made that a basketball arena? Is that what happened?
It was a basketball arena.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's
like when you watch a hockey game, center ice is actually not under the
scoreboard.
The scoreboard. It's actually in between. So it's like almost a blue line.
Yeah.
And the other side of the ice is actually built into like the side of the building. Like so if you're sitting in one section, you can't see the net. You can't. You only see the other side.
Because Staples Center, I mean, the Kings play there, and I mean, I've heard only good things. They obviously did.
But they built that arena with hockey and basketball in mind. I mean, when they moved from the Forum, it was the same deal.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, Barclays is not suited for hockey. Listen, there was a 2-week span where the governor of Connecticut was trying to get the Islanders to come to Hartford again to get hockey back in Connecticut. But that was, again, just like the Patriots coming to Connecticut, which was never going to happen. It was just a negotiation ploy.
They can't move an NHL team into Hartford.
No, they'll never come back here again.
No.
I mean, I will say the downtown has gotten revitalized. I went out to dinner there last year. It was kind of nice. There's a minor league team down there that.
Yeah, the Rangers minor league team is out of Hartford.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I meant minor league baseball, but.
Yeah.
They just built what is that called? The Yard Goats.
Yard Goats. Yeah.
And that's a brand new baseball stadium, and that's really nice. It's right at the intersection of 84 and 91.
Yeah.
It's right there. It used to be. For those of us who don't live in Connecticut, but it used to be in like one of the parking lots that you used to go to and tailgate for Dave Matthews.
The tweeter stuff.
Makes any sense to you.
Tweeter, but anyways, yeah. Well, it's real nice now. I was impressed. I was like, where did this come from? So
yeah, no, they're trying. There's a UConn campus there now in downtown Hartford, so they're trying to revitalize.
Football stadium's there, right? Football stadium.
Yeah,
it's a little further, but yeah, where UConn football plays is. That's
on an abandoned. Actually, I don't think it's even abandoned. I think it's still a municipal airport, right, Phil?
It's Pratt and Whitney, and then there's a bunch of softball fields there now. So they're building it up.
Huh.
Well, listen, good news. The Knicks are playing the last 2 games before Kevin Durant signs in the offseason. It's happening. Listen, I read an article today on ESPN where the players polled 60% that they think he's going to New York.
I can almost guarantee it, and I wouldn't be surprised if Anthony Davis follows him.
The only way they can get Anthony Davis
got traded there.
They have to trade him. They have to trade for Anthony Davis.
Oh, because Anthony Davis basically said, "See you later" to the Pelicans the other night.
So he wore a shirt today that said "Goodbye" or "Thanks, folks," or whatever. It said "Thank you, folks," or whatever it was. Kind of like the old Porky the Pig, like "Good day, folks." The only way that they're going to even possibly trade for him is they have to land the number 1 pick. That's the only way they even have a remote shot.
Well, but wouldn't they rather draft Zion?
Oh, I would, but I'm saying if you had a chance to even get Davis, you have to trade for him.
Knowing the Knicks and knowing the luck of the Knicks, they're going to get like the 10th or 11th pick.
Somehow they're going to screw it up.
Some Joe Blow from Russia.
We tried that.
Nobody's ever heard of before.
We tried that. It didn't work out very well.
So
Yeah.
Is there any truth to this, to the Porzingis rape allegations, or is this just the New York trying to smear him after he left?
Apparently,
that's not. It's not a smear.
Oh, okay. That's a real thing.
Apparently, there's emails from him and the woman and the Knicks. At least that's what I read. I don't know too much of it. That's all I read.
Okay.
There wasn't much. Once that story broke, a week or two ago, you saw a couple of articles, and that's it. It's been dry since.
Huh. Interesting. Well, I wanted to make a point about the Jets' new uniforms if we want to transition back to football, because I was remembering how the Patriots rebranded themselves not that long before they won their first Super Bowl. And I was just like, oh, that's interesting. Because they had that awful old school logo up until 99, 2000. They rebranded, and then a year or two later won the Super Bowl with Tom Brady. I was just like, oh, okay.
Do the Jets have Tom Brady?
They might. We don't know. They might have something better. Hey, Tom Brady didn't get to play. Drew Brees won the job from him that year. Then Tom Brady swoops in, wins the Super Bowl and the playoffs, and obviously he sells off into the sunset. But we'll see. We'll see what you have, a good supporting cast and a number one defense if how Darnold does. The Patriots had a great defense that season.
So what do you think about the jerseys?
I really like the colors that they went with. The logo's growing on me. It took at first I was like, oh, it's all right, it's okay. But I like the green. It's still green. They're calling it Gotham green. I mean, I like it. It's a little darker, but it honestly doesn't look much different than this one, which is the same green from before.
No, it's definitely lighter than that green.
It's lighter?
Yeah, I mean, that's more like a Kelly green, like a,
like your shirt.
Yeah, like this. It almost looks like a combination of that green and the old Boomer Esiason green.
And I like the stealth black.
It's not like that neon yellow green-ish color.
Right.
I personally don't like them at all, and I don't get it.
Oh, I mean, I like the stealth black.
I as a sucker sat down here on Thursday night and watched JB Smoove do this whole thing about and I sat there on my phone and I was like, okay, let's go. And I saw them and I was like,
well, it was the same thing we saw 2 days earlier that got leaked. So.
Yeah, that's true too. Phil sent it to us, but I like the white. I think the white is nice and classic. I think it looks good. I think they could have done better with the helmets. I'm not a huge fan of the helmet.
No, but so they're starting to post more of it on their Instagram. Like they posted the preseason schedule today with the helmet, and the helmet looked really cool in that photo. So it's the more I see it, obviously it's growing on me. It's not that much of the departure from. I guess everything they did was basically a mix of the two logos they had before. So
let me ask a question. Speaking of the schedule, right? So I saw the schedule.
Oh yeah.
So they open at the Giants.
Right.
Okay, which is not normal. They usually play.
It's normal because they're playing them this year.
Yeah, but when they played them 4 years ago, they still played them week 3.
Well, none of the starters.
So my question is this: is that any indication that they're going to play the Giants early in the season?
Oh, I hope so, because that way it'll be warm.
Yeah. Because I mean,
it's the only thing that I could think of is that it's because they are going to play them
September then
earlier in the season, and the schedulers know that, so they don't want to play them.
Unless, do you think they did that week 1, Giants Jets? I mean, that's a big draw.
I mean, that would be ballsy.
Yeah, it would be. I'm just thinking none of the starters are going to play each other that first game in August.
You're not getting Jets Giants week 1 because you're going to put Levy. Listen, the Jets might be on Monday Night Football next year, week 1.
Yeah, but Le'Veon versus Saquon's a big marketing.
Yeah, that's true too. All right,
Russell Wilson versus Sam Darnold, big marketing.
So Russell Wilson and Saquon against Darnold and Bell. All right. Then I changed my mind. Yes, that'd be great Monday Night Football.
I mean,
Lori got home.
Oh.
Lori's home safe.
Okay.
Lori can sleep better now.
Hope she had fun. If she wasn't working.
She was out doing. She had the work thing.
Oh, okay.
Listen, if it's opening week, Dan's flying out in September.
Yeah. Well,
it'll be 85.
I can assure you that I will not be able to go to the game if it's in September.
Well, let's hope it's not then. But
yeah, all right. Well, 3 out of the 4 Jets preseason games are the same as last year. Well, I was like, kind of thought that was weird. I don't know.
They always play the same guys. The only team that I see that they usually don't play are the Saints.
Yeah, but they always play the Falcons and the Eagles. Really?
Yeah, they do usually.
Oh,
And the Giants are playing the Patriots.
They always play the Eagles week 4 of the preseason. Always.
Huh.
Well, yeah, usually that last week is somewhere close because the Giants play the Patriots every year week 4. It's like the 15th consecutive year they're playing the Patriots.
Oh, okay. I guess I just don't pay that much attention to the preseason to see the pattern.
Yeah,
nobody does, but
no one does.
unless you're a diehard loser like I am.
They always play the Jets. The Giants always play the Jets, and the Giants always play the Patriots. The other two are up for debate.
Well, I will say I didn't watch the release of the jerseys on TV, but I watched the video clip after, and my daughter just loved the music they were playing. She started dancing immediately. When they were dancing out in their jerseys, it was pretty corny.
Yeah, I don't get it. It felt very I mean, it's an awkward situation, right? Sam Darnold comes out and he's like walking, and he's like, "What are you supposed to do?"
Yeah.
He threw a pass. Did somebody intercept it, or was it?
What did he throw? He threw a pass.
He came on stage and threw a pass. I don't know where it went though.
Well, and then people are trying to read between the lines now because all the number 1 picks except for Darren Lee were there at the jersey reveal ceremony. So is he the official trade fodder or not? I guess we'll see. But
yeah, I think he's gone.
Yeah, he hasn't done enough.
So we got 2 weeks before the draft. This week, probably won't hear too much going on. I think the week after is the one where you're going to really start hearing.
I'm surprised no one's made a deal yet. And maybe everyone wants to keep their picks, but
yeah, I'm kind of surprised too that we haven't heard at least somebody moving around to do this or that or the other thing. I think you're going to see this year in particular. I think you're going to see a lot of deals at the trade. Yeah. I mean, the Jets are doing their homework. They went and met with left tackle. I think he was out of Miami. I'm not remembering. They met with somebody that was way too high to draft at 3. So. And they canceled Nick Bosa today too.
Because Nick Bosa's not going to be there.
I'm just saying, dude. I'm just telling you the facts. I'm telling you what happened.
They canceled him.
They canceled Nick Bosa, which in my eyes means that they're probably going to just be trading out. It would be foolish for them to keep 3 when they can stockpile more picks.
Yeah, no, I want to see him get like 6 or 7 and then a later pick for that 3.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I hate to see him trade out of the top 10 completely because you're pretty much guaranteed a starter with the top 10 pick. It's rare that those guys.
Well, why would you not stay where you are and get one of those edge rushers? I mean, this is a defensive-oriented draft this year.
I'm not opposed to drafting a left tackle. Those guys.
No, I completely agree with you. I'll be the first to admit that.
But trade back to 7 and get that guy. I'm okay with that. Like, because you got to protect your quarterback.
Yep, 100%. This is a a potpourri of defensive ends and defensive linebackers and all these pass rushers. I mean, it's defensive heavy this year. It really is.
Well, and it's interesting because I wrote about the Packers today, and Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he's got no team around him anymore, and he can't do it himself.
Did you see Aaron Rodgers said that what was it? He couldn't see that. I think that injury that he got popped in the head, like he couldn't see, or what was it? He had some weird injury. It's like if the team knew that he was injured like that, he wasn't playing again for that game at least. Well, I forget what it was.
I'm wondering, this is reminiscent of me of the whole Brett Favre thing where there was the team and the player kind of like started getting at odds towards the end. And do you not trade Rodgers for as much as you can get and rebuild? Because what else do they have on the team right now? They got a couple of decent offensive players. Their defense was almost dead last in the league last year. Like,
could you imagine that? We talk about Russell Wilson being possibly traded. Could you imagine if the Packers traded Aaron Rodgers for whatever the package is?
That's such a risky thing, though. He's coming off of multiple injuries over the last 2 seasons. Now, he's been great when he plays, but
as a Giants fan, would you take Aaron Rodgers?
I mean, how as any team would you take Aaron Rodgers? I mean,
what does it matter if he's been injured? That's my point.
Yeah, I
feel like you got 2 good years of him, so I think you're right.
He's probably better than maybe 2 quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah,
Brady and.
No, I think he's number 2.
He's Brady. So you can't discount. So this is what this was my opinion on him. The Packers failed to mold the offense around Rodgers as he's aging. That's what the Patriots have done to Brady. They've protected his weaknesses like no other and exploited his positives. So he continuously looks better and better because they continuously change the offense to make him look better and better. I don't think they did that for Rodgers, and he got hung out to dry last season.
What team is in a worse situation, the Giants or the Packers?
Oh,
Packers, that's a good question.
It's very legitimate question.
They don't have a high pick.
I will tell you this, that I went to the Jets-Packers game, the one where the Jets blew the fourth quarter lead, and they gave up 24 points in the fourth quarter.
What a game that was.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm telling you that for 3 quarters, the Packers were awful, and they looked like one of the worst teams in football for 3 quarters. And the Jets just, in typical Jets fashion, stopped playing football. And they thought that they had it, and then that was the end of it. And their defense decided that they were just going to let it be. But I will tell you that when it was actual game against game, when players were playing, the Jets, who were awful last year, were light years better than the Packers. Light years. And that's with Aaron Rodgers on the field.
Yeah. I know. Like, they don't – well, I mean, they don't have any running game for him. Like, and he can't win it by himself. He doesn't even have any receivers now. Like,
well, he has one receiver. What's his name, Phil?
Devontae Adams.
Yeah, Adams.
That's it. He doesn't have Randall Cobb anymore. Jordy Nelson just retired. He's got no tight end. He's got no running game at all. His offensive line is shoddy. Their defense is terrible.
Well, this is the perpetual question. Like, the Miami's muddled in the middle for 5 years running. Like, it's no good just to be just good enough to make the playoffs and then get knocked out first round, or just good enough to miss the playoffs. You either got to go for the championship or rebuild. Like, the middle gets you nothing.
Well, the Dolphins are rebuilt, and I mean they just signed Fitzmagic. So I mean,
yeah. Well, they're tanking this season, 100% tanking, and
right.
They have to. But the Packers got one of the best quarterbacks of a generation, and they have nothing around him anymore. It's a shame. I don't know what's going to happen there.
Dan, your next article should be why the Packers should trade Aaron Rodgers. That'd be a good article.
I got to do my homework on that one.
It's not an out of the box scenario.
Not anymore. No.
What maybe you can get back for him? You start from the ground up. It's maybe what Seattle's going to do. Maybe listen, he's not going to be available, so that's a complete pipe dream. But any team would take Aaron Rodgers and give up the house for him too.
I agree. Let's end it on that so we don't get cut off this week. We'll see what happens when we're back next Tuesday.
So next Tuesday, I'm seeing the Mouse, so I'll try and make it.
Okay.
Are you going to Disney next week?
I'm going to see the Mouse next week.
Very nice. Well, we'll see what happens. If Russell Wilson gets moved, we may have to.
If Russell Wilson gets moved, I guarantee you I will find a way to log in next week.
So it's going to be on It's a Small World on his phone.
I like it. All right,
fellas. I'll talk to you.
Yeah.
All right.
See you.
Thanks for watching BuzzChomp.
Subscribe and share.
Subscribe and share.
Subscribe and share.
Share.
Woo.